Hello, good morning. This is Argyle Breakfast. It's great to have you with us once again, building up to another tricky but another exciting game as Argyle take on second place Lincoln City at Home Park. Address the elephant in the room first very quickly. Yes, I have lost my voice. Had a lovely week off in Poland this week and I think the cold weather may have hit me a bit harder than I thought. Minus 14 degrees over there. It was snowing, which is a little bit better than the rain we've been having in Plymouth, but nonetheless, bear with me as we get through the breakfast programme. I'll try and cough off camera and we'll keep everything flowing nice and smoothly and get you in the mood for an afternoon of football. Of course, Argyle TV is the place to follow the game, but before we get to that later on this afternoon, we do have a bumper breakfast show lined up for you. So let's have a look at what we've got heading your way. Chief Executive Paul Byrne will be with us just after 10:30, talking through the first month of his time in the role. And we're also going to be joined on the breakfast show by former Argyle captain and promotion winner Mike Green, the man that led the Pilgrims during their dream season of 1974-1975. So loads to get through this morning. Plus, as always, our favourite game to play here on Argyle Breakfast, Get the Badge In. You can see that just before midday and find out a little bit later on who is going to be playing today. So plenty to get you in the mood for another super Saturday of football. And to help me probably get through the programme, speaking a lot more on my behalf, it's Aaron Cusack.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Aaron, how are you?
Oh, it just sounds like I'm really hungover, which I promise is not the case.
Of course. I will do as much as I can in terms of talking. I won't present as well as you, but I'll talk nonetheless.
Well, tell me how your week has been.
Not great. I've been poorly myself. So I was in bed on Monday. That's why the analysis show was a day late in terms of going out to the viewers. And then went back to work. And on Thursday I wasn't too well, so I went back to bed again. But I seem to be coming out the other end of it.
Yes.
So just in time for what is hopefully 3 valuable points later.
Yeah. Well, it's nice when you can obscure a bit of an illness.
Yes.
Mine's just hit me full force in the voice. There's nothing I can do about it. It happened, ironically, I think the last time something like this happened was when we did the Argyle USA trip to Washington. Again, it was like a 4 or 5 day trip, cold weather, had a really good time, totally lost my voice. So the end of the documentary of that is me just hoarse, walking around outside the White House. So something with Argyle shows and me losing my voice, it keeps happening. Aside from that though, quite exciting guests today. CEO. Yeah. That's one that we've been looking forward to having a chat about since he's been in the post.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always great to hear, what new visions they have in place, what new exciting projects that are going to, come to fruition in time. And, naturally he would have been in post relatively new, but he would have had experience of what's gone on, having previously sat on the board as a director. Yeah. So it's really great to have those opportunities. And like always, we like to have players in here to learn more about the inside info, but we're going to get it at strategic level as well. So it'll be quite good to listen.
And also as well, we have to mention transfer window, of course, shut since the last time we spoke. And we've got 2 new signings as well. So we'll be hearing from them over the course of the breakfast show. Are you excited to see them take to the pitch at some point? Yeah,
of course. I mean, they're both, again, they look, I'd like to say shrewd signings, but obviously Herbie Kane isn't, I don't know if he's fully fit yet. So he comes with a little bit of a history in terms of trying to stay fit. But I've been well informed that if he is fit and he's on point, he's an outstanding player, and he's played against us numerous times where he's been a thorn in our side, and he's an exciting football player. They reckon he's of the ilk of like a Joe Rawls with a technical capability and an ability to orchestrate the game. Yeah. And Wes Harding as well is coming in from Millwall, who's played against us, and for me shows that athleticism that we need, and it also adds to the variation that we need if we're going to be successful. Now, whatever success means in our context, obviously playoffs, is it kind of out of reach? Not realistically, I don't think it is. But we need to go on a really deep run to get anywhere near it. But we need players of that calibre to offer the rotation needed to keep everyone fresh.
Well, we'll look forward to finding out a little bit more about those new signings as we go. Let's turn our attention to the first segment of Argyle Breakfast this morning. Home match days, of course, mean many things. Pasties, walk up Central Park, seeing your football friends, Semper Fidelis, and of course, goes without saying, the Jana song. It has been the club anthem for the past 4 seasons, and it's been a firm favourite amongst supporters before that as well. Rick O'Shea, one half of the sensational Barnett brothers, lifts the lid on the story of how it became Argyle's song.
This is the history behind the song.
You need to join in our chorus. The chorus is the same word repeated twice. It's just Jana and then Jana.
Well, in England's southwest is the county that's best. My best man and I went to a part of the world that we thought would be best. We'd never been to Ireland before. We went to Ireland, and we talked about where the best part of the country would be to visit. And obviously, coming from Plymouth, we thought the southwest of any country is going to be the best place to go. So we went to a place called Killarney and called into Danny Mann's bar for a pint of the black stuff. And Natural Gas were playing. That's a band fronted by Tim O'Riordan, a great lad. And I heard this song that they were singing called the Langer Song. And it was about people that he knew in Cork, a type of person, not a geographical reference. It was just, you're a bit of a chancer, you know, Langer, he called it. And bought his CD, listened to it, and I thought, you know, I can take this back to the Fan Fest, which was in an embryonic stage then. It was a little bit smaller than it became, and we thought we'd change it to Jana. And I loved the song. I just thought it was a great song. So people don't celebrate this part of the world enough, in my opinion. It's a beautiful part of the world. I left this part of the world, worked away for 15 years, came back because I missed it so much. And nobody sings the praises of Plymouth. You know, nobody does it because we're all kind of ashamed that it's a bit scruffy. And I've heard people say that, you know, we'll never be anything. Plymouth's not a good place to live, and it makes my green blood boil because I want to confront them and say, where else is there? I've lived in a lot of places. I've done a lot of jobs, and there's nowhere in this country to match the Southwest. And it compares favorably with anywhere in the world, in my opinion. So let's put that into words. Let's sing a song about Plymouth and being a Jana, which Jana didn't have much currency in those days. It wasn't a term that was used very much. And thankfully, thanks to people at Argyle, namely Nance and Shuey and the plays that my own play gave it suddenly got traction. Played at the ground, and then it's left me. It's become an anthem for people in love, for people suffering grief or loss. It's become a real identity song, and I am so incredibly proud of what it's beyond me now. My child has grown up and run away, so that's the kind of history and passion behind it. It is passion. It's if you listen to the words, if you think about them, I hope it resonates.
The county that's best, full of rolling green hills, and a coast that's been blessed, and inside of the sound.
Well, it had to include Dartmoor. It had to include, you know, the sea, the old 3 towns, which don't ask me to name them because I always forget one. It's Devonport and Stonehouse, and I know that. Probably Plympton as well, I would think. The 3 towns. And it's the passion of I think I mentioned spirit and faith and stuff, which is dear to me. I don't have a recognizable religious faith, although I'm an old choir boy, so there's a bit of Catholic guilt lingering there. So, but who was it I was listening to? I was listening to Bruce Springsteen singing about America, and there was something about his lyric that gave me chills, and I could kind of hear the passion behind the song. So I thought, if I can match that in any way, then job done. And I was working with Dave Banana at the time, who's poorly, otherwise he'd be here. And he said, that's a really good lyric. You know, let's put that out there. So we did. We gave it to charity for the Chestnut Appeal. That sold out. We had lots of people, including at the time Chris Wood, who did a little bit of shot to camera. Lots of people got involved with that, and that was incredibly successful for a good cause. And it slowly gained traction, and now it's everywhere. As I say, I'm so proud. Not just proud of writing the lyric, but proud of being a Plymothian, proud of being a Janner, because for me, there's no other team. You know, I don't have a Premier team. It's just Argyle, you know, and all my life I've supported Plymouth Argyle as far back as I can remember. Getting excited that Norman Piper was in the team. You know, I was on the Lyndhurst side on an orange box trying to see the game. So it means an awful lot to me, and I don't resonate with any other place. What's the point of supporting Liverpool or Man United? What's the point? I don't have any connection with that place. It's fake. It's stolen glory. I don't want any part of it.
A Janner. Janner! Janner! Down in Plymouth, we're all known as Janners.
Well, the full version of that can be streamed online now. I don't think there's any chance of me singing that today.
No, I thought we were going to wave our arms like this as it came back to us, but no, we're not in a fit state.
That's about all I could muster today.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic, you know, explanation of the song and how much it means. And, you know, it's such a good song to have blaring out of the speakers. I know, you know, like with everything, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but in terms of like this heritage, this identity tied in with Plymouth and the club, it's quite special to have.
Oh, absolutely. It's about something that is relatable, and people will relate to it because, one, they'll associate it with the football team. Before kick-off, that's the famous song.
Yeah.
And then when you go a little bit further and drill deeper into its purpose, it's about having pride of place and being proud of where your roots are and where you've come from, and you know, being from Devon and Plymouth and things like that. You can, and he made a reference in there, Rick, about passion. I think he said about Bruce Springsteen, was it? And how much passion he had about singing about America, and he wanted to bring that passion to life. And that's why it'll always have a link, because of the passion and the pride it brings. And more people can relate to it.
And it's so normal hearing people, you know, talk about singing about things like America or, you know, like a whole country like that. And then when you say, oh, okay, well, I want to have that pride and I want to do that about Plymouth, it seems almost a bit bizarre in comparison to, you know, having such huge popular music where that is the subject, and then you drill down into a city in the very southwest of the UK. But it's like, no, why not? Why shouldn't you?
Absolutely. You know, it's fair to say that we reside in an obscure part of the country, so we are out of the way. However, look how many people come to this part of the region throughout the year because of where we live. We are blessed where we live in terms of a demographic. I'm extremely proud of being from this area because we live in a beautiful landscape and we live in a lovely part of the world. Well, I wouldn't say we're in the hotbed of sport. No. That's fair to say. You know, we're not surrounded by a multitude of top level sporting teams. However, we've had our own successes, and people will come and go, and we've just got to remember where our roots are. So it's
especially when you get to hear it somewhere like Wembley, for example. Because then it's like, wow, you know, we're really putting Plymouth and putting Argyle on the big screen. Like, there is something, it's not, funny's not the right word, but it's almost, I remember being at Wembley and hearing the Janner song get played, and you almost look at half the stadium thinking, like, what on earth is going on? And then you've got our half that are just absolutely loving it and really just embracing the shared bond that we have through being Janners, whether you are a born and bred Janner or an honorary Janner. And like he said, making Janner a thing, it wasn't really that well known in terms of a nickname for a location previously, and now it is very synonymous with Plymouth. I
mean, interestingly, we don't know, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here, we don't know, there's probably more teams across the country that haven't got anything as relatable as that than what we've got. You know, I know the fact that we might not be a high-performing Premier League outfit or whatever, but in terms of something that has a shared, relatable bond, there are lots of football clubs that perhaps don't have that. So that's something that we have got as something at the forefront of our connection, which is great because, like I say, football is what we all love and we want the team to do well. But as we've said on previous shows, Erin, the the football club harmonises so many different people. And we hear stories about family traditions and journeying together and building new friendships. And ultimately, we want to see 3 points at the end of the day. But it's more than just the football itself.
Yeah, it's the shared community. I've got quite a few friends who are Cornish, and there's a lot of song heritage in Cornwall and some really beautiful, amazing shanties and things like that. Cornwall, My Home as well, in particular, is one lovely song. But whenever they play it, I then always try and sneak in the Jana song afterwards, because I can't, in truth, being born and bred from Plymouth, I can't fully join in with Cornwall My Home, because it's not true to me.
True.
And while I enjoy it, you then got to slide something in and go, one for you, one for me.
Absolutely.
And then they're kind of like, oh wow, this is what you're bringing to the table. I'm like, yes it is. Right, let's see what else we've got still to come for you on Argyle Breakfast this morning. We're going to be joined by Argyle's Chief Executive, Paul Byrne, who's just overseen his first month in the role. He'll be with us in about half an hour, and we'll also be hearing, as we mentioned, from both of our newest signings, Wes Harding and Herbie Kane, speak about their moves to Argyle.
Slight touch there to marker, Tynan! Yes! Well, he's at it again, Tommy Tynan.
Chance here for Hodges. Hodges gets it across, and there it is! Off the boot of Andy Thomas, his second goal of the night.
Byrne. Campbell inside, Hodges! Is it there? Yes it is! Kevin Hodges! Tynan! And Argyle thoroughly deserve that.
Yes! McCarthy, who'd had the first chance, has caused an explosion of joy at home park.
Are you ready? This is Fantasy EFL. Pick 7 players and 2 clubs from across the EFL. With rolling deadlines, make changes right up until each player plays. Set your team and accumulate points as the action unfolds. Every goal, every tackle, every save. Get one step closer to the top. Use your Max Captain chip to get double points for your best player. Go all in with a new One Club chip. Pick 7 players from one club. Get injury and suspension alerts. Every match counts, and every pick is worth taking. Battle for real prizes, including a season ticket for the winner of each of our 72 clubs mini-leagues. Let the games begin. Play Fantasy EFL today.
Welcome back. It's almost 20 past 10. Hope you're enjoying your morning and you're sounding better than I am, at least. Now, for every home game that we have in the matchday programme, a player takes on our version of the classic board game, which we call Trivial Questions. So this week, Rob McNichol asked Luca Ashby-Hammond to come along for a go, and this is how he got on.
Luca, thanks for sitting down with us to do some trivial questions, as we call them. Have a little trip around the board, ask you some questions about different topics. At the end of each little section, I'm going to ask you a trivia question. If you get it right, you'll get the little corresponding colour in there. But another job, you've already got a pencil and some pens in front of you. You've got the time it takes to do this interview to draw one of your teammates. Okay. Look forward to seeing who you pick. Do you have a favourite photo of yourself?
There's one I've got with my older brother where we played against each other last year. Yeah. I'd say that one. That's
on that topic. We were talking about it just now. But it's a fairly unusual thing to happen. Of course, you were on the bench together this year, weren't you, against Stevenage? What was that like playing against him? Is it something you kind of grow up thinking it'll happen one day and then it actually does?
Yeah, we've come close a few times. I don't think my parents didn't really enjoy it.
No,
because there was not much respite for them. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was 1-1. I think we both played quite well, so it was probably the best outcome we could have had for the family. I think.
So, what colour shirt was Emiliano Martinez wearing in the World Cup final in 2022?
Was it green?
It was green. Very good. Would you like to be able to time travel?
I'd go back, yes, not forward, probably.
That is the second bit is, would you go back?
Go back,
so you'd go back to anything specific?
I wouldn't go in my own life. I would go to a time where I'd find it interesting. So, I don't know, for example, the Roman Empire or something like that would be quite cool to witness. Definitely. I wouldn't like to be drafted into the Colosseum, but I could watch it. It'd be quite interesting.
Just watch from afar.
Yeah.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Well, obviously we have to sing a song for our initiations.
Yeah.
This year I did The Script, The Man Who Can't Be Moved.
Okay.
So I'd probably do that.
So you'd go to that one again?
Yeah. Actually, no, because not many people sung along, so I wouldn't do that again.
How is Alex Mitchell doing as the dressing room DJ?
Very good.
I've heard good reports.
Wouldn't change it at all.
Okay.
No, he's got a good balance for all the tastes in music, but I appreciate the music he plays. Most importantly, is before we go out, it needs to be the most exciting, shall we say.
How many countries do you think that you have visited in your life?
I'd probably say 20.
Okay.
Probably.
Through things like holidays plus football tours when
mostly
you're young
football,
and stuff?
yeah, mostly football, yeah.
What are your favourite ones of those that you think you visited?
The most interesting I've visited for football was probably I've been to North Macedonia and Romania, which are interesting. We played in Macedonia. I think Zab might have been there as well. We played in the hills, and you were playing, and then you could just see like vast Macedonian hills. That was quite interesting.
Other than football, what other sports are you good at?
Cricket, I'm good at.
Okay.
I used to play county cricket, so I'd say that. I'm good at tennis on holiday. If I have a few days where I play in a row, and then I'll have a year off and then be terrible again. So I just say I'm all right at cricket.
Yeah. Do you keep old memorabilia of yours from football? I always put the word old.
My mum does.
Shouldn't say old, just memorabilia.
My mum is the memorabilia kit manager at my house. So all the shirts and stuff I give to her, and she keeps them.
I think that's quite common. I think that at the time you're not necessarily thinking about it, but they are, and then in years to come you'll appreciate that they've done it. Yeah. Who did you support when you were a kid?
Man United.
Okay. Do you still follow them?
Yeah.
What was it about Man United? If you've grown up in South West London.
My dad, who's from there,
so
that was a forced decision. And growing up, it was a good decision. Now, less so, but I had some good times.
I'm going to say so far it's quite generic. So
I don't know how else to separate. Well, this should hopefully give you a clue.
I'm guessing it's Connor then, is it?
No.
Oh, it's not. Okay. So it's just someone with big hands rather than it being a goalie, or is it Zach then?
It's Zach, yeah.
Okay.
I made him look quite tall when he's not really that tall, so I'd be happy with that.
Okay.
He has a new sort of parting he's going for, so that's why I've done that.
Oh, okay. That's nice. I noticed you delete and go back again. Actually.
So he's done a bit of a parting. I don't know what he's doing with it, but I'm going to do that.
You can find out how Luca got on with the rest of the questions if you purchase today's Matchday programme, which is full of loads of other great features as well. Aaron, other than football, what sport are you particularly good at?
Well, good. I'll use loosely. I play golf.
I knew you were going to say
I like
that
a bit of golf. I used to play cricket.
Did you?
Many moons ago now. So I played all right level at cricket. Did okay. Yes. But I don't play anymore. But golf is my...
Golf is your go-to.
Yeah,
now.
I like golf.
Yeah,
I like golf. Do you?
Ooh, tricky one. Well, 2006 tag rugby champion.
Fair enough.
put that out there at the ripe old age of 11 and a half. Yeah, my sporting prowess peaked quite early in terms of mandatory physical education, and then tapered off a little bit, but partial to a bit of netball back in the day.
Nice, yeah.
I have just signed up for the Plymouth 10K, so I will be running soon.
Good.
Yeah, that's not really a sport though, is it? That's just...
Well, running is, I suppose.
Well,
isn't it?
yeah, so what I'll be doing is categorically not a sport, just fighting for my life later on in the year. Talking about Luca Ashby-Hammond then, and particularly players like himself as a goalie, when you are not necessarily the first choice goalie, and then having to jump in and play and be in these situations. How tough do you think that is, for him in those scenarios to, be ready to adapt, to change, to just going as and when the opportunity strikes?
It's a good question, actually. I'm not a goalkeeper, so I can't offer any personal experience. Personally, though, from an outsider looking in, it must be one of the hardest things to do, because when outfield players are being maybe nursed back from injury or coming back from a suspension, and they've been out for a period of time, it takes them a while to get match sharpness and match fitness, is what they call. And I think it must be the same for goalkeepers, but in particular, reactions. I know they practice their reactions during the week in training, but there'll be moments in games that don't become as instinctive the longer you're not playing. So it takes a bit of time to kind of get going again. But the unfortunate thing with being a goalkeeper, if you make a glaring error, it lives in the memory forever. Yeah. It really does. I mean, they could make one error and that could cost the game, whereas an outfield player could make a horrific error where they put an easy ball into touch or miss a chance, and then it's not as much remembered. Do
you think it's quite an isolating position to be in? Because like you said, when you are part of the outfield players, there is a group element to that. If you make a mistake, there are multiple other people who can maybe then try and rectify it. Yes, in some situations, same can be said for the goalie with your defenders, maybe if they can get in good positions to prevent that. But largely, like you said, the be-all and end-all comes down to you. It ends up being your face attributed to either a mistake or a fantastic save, which I imagine can be maybe quite isolating in comparison to the rest of the field.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. And, sometimes you just go out and trust what you're primed to do, then you get the returns. And I remember going back years ago when Mike Cooper made his debut and he was fantastic. He had to come on out of nothing, and I think second half was outstanding, and I think he just went with pure instinct potentially. But yeah, so from Luca's perspective, where he's kind of in and out, he's got to be ready. So they'll do as much work during the week, of course, to get them ready in case things like that happen. But it has to take a time for them to get their match sharpness up to the level that they want, and that's where the consistency comes. So I can imagine it's quite a, like you said, good word, an isolated position to be in, especially if you're not first choice.
Yeah, I mean, even then when he was talking about playing tennis, saying, I'll play tennis for a couple of days in a row, then don't do it for ages, and then you go back to square one. Not obviously that is the case when it's your profession, but there is an element to it of being played in games, game in, game out, and then you become used to it. Whereas if you're going through periods of time when you're on the bench, and the odds of you getting called up as a goalkeeper during a game are very low. It's not the same as where the other players on the bench are just straight in there if needs be.
Yeah, and I think probably judgment is one of the things that it comes to the fore. Quite evidently, quite quickly in that moment. So they have to trust their judgment, i.e. coming for a ball, claiming, aerially judging a ball coming in, the speed of it, the decision to come in punch, catch or stay on their line. Such a split-second moment, which if they get that moment wrong, then it accentuates the glaring outcome if it's an error, or accentuates the great decision if it prevents a goal and on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, a lot a lot more than just the physical elements in the game as well. It's very much a mental game, being a goalkeeper as well. We are now approaching, well, we're bang on 10:30, racing through this morning's show. So let's see what we still have to come for you on Argyle Breakfast. At 11:30, former Argyle captain Mike Green will be with us to share some stories from skippering a side that included Paul Mariner and Billy Rafferty. And in just a moment, Paul Byrne, the club's CEO, will be with us to talk through his first month in the role.
The biggest thing was the alignment, right from the owner to the board, obviously to the staff on the ground, of the clear vision for the women's team.
Let's go! It's probably the most excited I've been since I've been part of this club.
The belief is huge this year, but that stems from obviously Marie's belief in what she wants to try and achieve.
Janice, Janice, down in Plymouth.
This is our time. Make it. Only we will make it. Come on, we can do it.
Let's go! Heartbroken for her, and just everybody did anything they could to get around her and show her we were going to support her the whole way through. When they are completely aligned with each other, what they can achieve.
Come on, 2-0 against Come on, Janice! Up the Janice!
An exciting game where I think it'll be a real good exhibition of what the National League, Women's National League is.
They've definitely had the upper hand. We obviously look to change that if we can.
Slight touch there to marker. Tynan! Yes! Well, he's at it again. Tommy Tynan.
Chance here for Hodges. Hodges gets it across, and there it is. Off the boot of Andy Thomas, his second goal of the night.
Byrne. Campbell inside. Hodges! Is it there? Yes, it is! Kevin Hodges! Tynan! And Argyle thoroughly deserve that.
Yes! McCarthy, who'd had the first chance, has caused an explosion of joy at home park.
Welcome back to Argyle Breakfast. We're very happy to have you with us this morning, and we're going to turn our attention to two of our new players. Argyle brought in 2 new players on deadline day, Herbie Kane and Wes Harding, both arriving here on loan. We'll hear from Kane in a moment, but first let's find out how Harding made the decision to end up down here in Devon.
Welcome to the club. How does it feel to be here?
Thank you. Yeah, it feels really good. It's taken a while, I guess. Well, it feels like that anyway. But yeah, finally here.
Take us inside what it has been like then for the last couple of days. Like you said, it's taken a while. What's the process sort of been
like?
Yeah,
just a lot of conversations being had, and then yeah, finally had the agreement. And the travel down here, the journey down here was a long one. But yeah, just as I said, really happy to be here.
Yeah, get used to that, by the way, the long journeys.
Yeah.
There isn't a short one from now until the end of the season. Talk to us about the driving forces for you behind the move then. So why Argyle? What was kind of attractive to you, I suppose?
Yeah, so firstly, the manager. You will hear players often say it, but it's really nice to feel wanted. And yeah, that's number one, firstly. Argyle's a big club, so I've played here before, played at home park before, won some, lost some, but that atmosphere tends to be really, really exciting. So I'd probably say those two really, and yeah, just the opportunity to play football regularly for a massive club.
Yeah, I'll come on to the gaffer in a moment, but on that last point that you mentioned there, about playing football regularly, I think it's probably fair to say that the last 2 years you haven't played as much as you would have wanted. So, yeah, what is that like, I suppose, as a player in the sort of prime age of your time?
No, it's really difficult. I think
fans from the outside, they won't understand just the mental battle, mental struggle that you tend to have. But me, I've just tried to keep fit and be ready for an opportunity. And I think I've, made sure I am, done myself proud when I've had the opportunity. But yeah, in coming here, I'm really looking forward to just playing regularly. The guys here, it seems good. Team's in good form, so yeah, really excited to get started.
Yeah, to be coming into a team, albeit we lost our last game, but having before that it was a long unbeaten run. That must be quite an exciting thing.
Definitely. I was having conversations with a couple of members of staff. Been watching the last couple, like seeing how I fit in and stuff like that, and cheering the boys on. So happy to be here now. On
the gaffer then, Tom Cleverley, the conversations you've had with him, kind of around how you might fit in to the side. What have those conversations been like?
So just touching on like me playing centre half really, and he touched on like the group of lads he's got, and obviously I've got a bit of experience, so coming in and maybe helping from that aspect also. But yeah, it was just mainly around getting me here. So it's finally done.
It's finally done. On you then, supporters will kind of know a bit about you, because as you said, you've played against us on a couple of occasions. But kind of plot us through your journey to now, how you've felt you got on at certain places and developed, etc.
Yeah, so I came through at Birmingham City, came through the academy, played over 50 games there, really enjoyed it. But I hit a stage where it was like, I need to get out and play more regular football. I'll be sort of one of the main players kind of thing. So I went to Rotherham United. I enjoyed 3 years there. Won the Papa John's, which I'm hoping I know it's got a different name now, but I'm hoping I can be part of a journey here with that too. And then, moved on to Millwall. It started off really well. Hasn't been amazing the past 2 years, as we've discussed, but yeah, I've really enjoyed my career to date.
What do you think, you've kind of, or how do you think you've sort of developed? Certainly over the last couple of years, because it's predominantly been Championship football that you've been playing, with Rotherham, and then obviously with Millwall for the last couple of seasons and a bit. Yeah. How, in terms of your personal development as a footballer, what do you think's?
I'd say, based off the past 2 years, mentally more than physically or any sort of part of my game, because it's been so difficult. But in saying that, when I've gone onto the pitch, I've really been able to have a mindset of, okay, I've got to be at it and do well here. So I don't know if that answers your question. I'll probably say mentally more than anything I've developed recently.
Yeah, well, that is a big thing, because it is such a huge part of football. And I think it's something that fans take almost for granted a little bit, the pressures, but also the way in which players cope with disappointment and successes, and you've had both of those.
Yeah, definitely. I've had a few. It tends to be more downs and ups in football, but yeah, we get through it and we keep going.
Let's talk about some ups then. So if I were to ask you some of your kind of best bits, your favourite, fondest memories of your career, where would you go for those?
Fondest memories, so the very first would be my debut season at Birmingham. Going in as a young player, playing against literally very good teams and players. I remember playing against Fulham on the last day of the season, and it was a big game of which we had to stay up, and they were trying to go up, and we won 3-1. I got an assist in that game, so that's the first one that stands out. Then winning the Papa John's at Wembley was amazing at Rotherham United, and then lastly playing for Jamaica, the Copa America 2 years ago that was an honour. So they're the three that stand out.
Well, we mentioned his and Herbie's signing earlier, but now that we've heard from him in a little bit more detail, what do you make of Wes Harding?
Yeah, good. He's clearly, again, at a stage of his career where he needs to play. He hasn't had as much game time in the last 2 years as he would have liked. He's 29 years old. He comes with good pedigree. He's played at the Championship level. He's played higher level of League One, like with Rotherham United. So I think he will fit both parties really well, i.e. we need to strengthen our defensive unit, and he's available to come in and he's fit as well. That helps. He's fit, he's raring to go, he's eligible to play in the Virtue Trophy, the Papa John's, as he would have known it as. And that makes it great, because what it allows, Erin, is the opportunity to rotate. healthily, to keep players fit and fresh. Because what we have started to see, it's only natural, we've been running with like a 14.
Yeah.
And some are starting to break down a little bit now because of the demand of the game. It's nice to have those fresh, new opportunities available.
And he can play in a couple of positions as well. He's not just restricted to, you know, one particular area. So, again, that gives us a bit more opportunity. And as well, the experience, that seems to have been a driving factor maybe in some of the more recent signings that we've seen. Joe Rawls, for example, is one of them. Again, you look at Wes Harding, 177 championship matches, you mentioned 29 years old. It's bolstering the squad with this experience that we know we were really lacking in the summer.
I agree. And I think in previous years, we've tended to have our player profile around a younger cohort. So 24 years old and below, you know, lots of potential. For me, you can only have so many of them.
Yeah.
You need to have what we call experienced men. You need to have people who have been in the leagues, they know how to manage football matches. And the likes of Ronan Curtis and Joe Rawls and now obviously Wes Harding coming in just adds to the experiential depth that we, you know, the experience that we need to perform well, you know, to know how to win games when the flow of the moment's going against you and you need to dig in and win 1-0. So, you know, you need the balance.
Yeah. Argyle's form has picked up and the defence has been working quite well. So where do you see him fitting in? Is, you know, are you envisioning a bit more of a fight for a place in the squad?
Yeah, I mean, he can play as a centre-back. He can probably play in a back three. Yeah. So if they opt to change to a back three, I can't see why they would at the minute. But if they had to, then that option's there. He can play at full-back.
Yeah.
You know, so you look at Joe Edwards, who's been doing well, but he is 35. Yeah. You know, he can't play 3 90s a week. He say he will do, you know, and no doubt he'll give it a go. But he needs to rest his legs. Matty Soranola's been playing a lot of games as well, so he could go left or right. Brendan Galloway showed last week that he perhaps needed a little bit of a rest. So I think just having the freshness and the variability there helps Tom Cleverley to decide who might be best suited to the game based on their freshness leading into that next fixture.
And you mentioned Brendan Galloway as well. We've seen him go from strength to strength lately, and he had the benefit playing internationally. And Wes Harding as well, then mentioning, you know, one of his career highlights was being picked for the Jamaican international team. So again, it's having these players that have got opportunities that they can pursue outside of Argyle, but then maybe feed back into the success of the club.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And all footballers get to a point in their careers where they have to slightly adapt their primary aim. So Wes Harding now at 29 isn't a fledgling anymore. He's not trying to break into the first team. He's an established professional, so he needs to embark on a new journey that creates his new legacy. So he's entering the back end of his football career, and you know that's the truth. So does Argyle become the new journey? Absolutely. Does it become a permanent part of his career? Who knows?
No.
You know, if he comes here and he stakes a good claim as a regular performer, he could go on and become a real stalwart here for the next 3 or 4 years. Who knows?
And speaking as well at the beginning of his interview, when Charlie asked, you know, what was one of the motivating factors that brought you down here, Tom Cleverley.
Yeah.
As he said, it's the gaffer, it's Tom Cleverley is one of the motivations, which I suppose then reflects on Tom and the work that has been developing here, because maybe that wouldn't have been an answer 6 months ago. But now, obviously players from outside are seeing the vision, seeing how the club is developing and wanting to you know, find a manager that they think, like we've spoken about before, can you as a player benefit the team, but how does the club benefit you as an individual? Yeah,
it's not just about how good you are as a player, it's about whether your personality fits.
Yeah.
And they would have scoped each other out, i.e. can I work for this coach and can this coach work with this player? And if then they're neutralised and they merge seamlessly, then it's a good fit. Cleverley, of course, would have said, look, we're signing you because we want to play you.
Yeah.
So therefore, he wants to play football at the end of the day. But it's up to him to prove that he's worthy of a starting 11, because our defence in recent weeks has been excellent.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have that strength available and that depth available now to offer the variation. So, naturally footballers still want to improve, irrelevant of age, they still want to get better. So if he feels he can come here and become a better player, then it's the right choice for him.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we look forward to seeing how Wes Harding's career develops here at Argyle, and we'd love to hear from you as well. You can let us know how did you find the transfer window this season. Get in touch with us. You can use the hashtag PAFC or at us at Argyle as well. We'll keep an eye out. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And right now we still have a lot more to come for you on Argyle Breakfast. Brendan Wiredu is the latest player to take on Get the Badge In. You can find out how he gets on just before midday. I think it's going to be another good one. And we will be hearing the first words from our second deadline day signing, Herbie Kane. That's coming up next.
Touch there to marker. Tynan! Yes! Well, he's at it again. Tommy Tynan.
Chance here for Hodges. Hodges gets it across, and there it is. Off the boot of Andy Thomas. His second goal of the night.
Byrne. Campbell inside. Hodges! Is it there? Yes, it is! Kevin Hodges!
Yes! McCarthy, who'd had the first chance, has caused an explosion of joy at home park.
Are you ready? This is Fantasy EFL. Pick 7 players and 2 clubs from across the EFL. With rolling deadlines, make changes right up until each player plays. Set your team and accumulate points as the action unfolds. Every goal, every tackle, every save. Get one step closer to the top. Use your Max Captain chip to get double points for your best player. Go all in with a new One Club chip. Pick 7 players from one club. Get injury and suspension alerts. Every match counts and every pick is worth taking. Battle for real prizes, including a season ticket for the winner of each of our 72 clubs mini-leagues. Let the games begin. Play Fantasy EFL today.
Hello, good morning, welcome back. You are watching Argyle Breakfast with me, Erin Black and Aaron Cusack. We are joined now live in the studio by Argyle Chief Executive Paul Byrne. He's been in his new role for just over a month. Good morning, Paul. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been a month already because we
You can't. Imagine how I feel.
We'll find out because we were teeing you up, of course, in advance. The announcement was made, you know, prior to you starting at the beginning.
Longest runway in history to get the job.
Just guide you in there. How has it been making the transition, because you were involved in the club previously, but then making that kind of solid transition into CEO now from January?
Yeah, good, I hope. Yes, I've said what everyone else thinks. But yeah, good. I mean, obviously I knew the club and I knew a lot of the people here, but it's very different. You're at arm's length as a director, quite rightly. So, you know, being here every day and really seeing the inner workings of the club and, you know, getting used to how everything works it's been really good. People are great, you know, people are nice here, and that's makes it so much easier, and everything's about people. So, yeah, it's been really good.
Well, I'm interested when you say everything's about people, and this might seem like a silly question, but when you have big jobs like, you know, CEOs, managing directors, all these big jobs, when you come from a background like, you know, myself, where that is far away, What does your day-to-day look like? What does being a CEO of a football club like this one, what does it involve, and what are your favourite bits about it so far? Is it having these interactions with people? What?
Yeah, well, I mean, okay. So I mean, I wasn't born to this. You know, I've had all kinds of jobs, and so I've always treated jobs the same way. You come and you try and do the best job you can, and you come to work in the morning. I believe everyone comes out of the house every morning and tries to do the best job for what they're trying to do. So I mean, I've been lucky enough to kind of get more senior jobs as I've progressed. So yeah, it's I mean that's always the way I approach things, which has been good, and it's always a people thing. So I mean the best thing about any job really is the jobs I've not enjoyed are where it's really difficult to work with the people and you can't talk to them. So I think the jobs I've really enjoyed are where you're with a group of people who are trying to achieve one thing together and you can talk to them. So I mean the best thing so far for me is I kind of working with Fred Lucken, who's the head of finance here. He and I've had a couple of conversations where you talk about, there's like a pinch me moment as you come to the stadium in the morning. You think, hang on, I'll work here. It's amazing, really, and it's what people dream of. So, coming in and talking to the people, and you're talking about football all the time, which, often you have to stop yourself doing in other jobs. You do that all the time here. So that's a bit of a different dynamic. So yeah, it's been really good. It's been really good to be here.
Has it been so far as you expected it to be?
Some and some. I mean, like obviously knowing the club a bit is helpful because I've not had to completely start from ground zero, which has been good. So I think that's been helpful. But some things are very different as well. When you start to work in a place, you kind of start to get the rhythm and routines of what's going on, and that's kind of helpful. So working out what happens during a match day, before and after, what happens on a Monday after the match day, how the players are in and for training regimes and all that kind of stuff. So those things I didn't know before, so it's just seeing that kind of thing is really helpful.
I'm interested as well, you've timed it quite well in terms of the upturn on the pitch.
I can't take all the credit for that, I have to say.
I mean, that must be quite nice coming into the job officially, and really it was almost like New Year, New Argyle. Like since January, we have had this really nice upturn, where the results are starting to come together for the club. The fans certainly seem to be reciprocating it back a bit more. We're getting goals, where we're getting the excitement on the pitch, which is nice.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I mean, I think it was happening before that. I think all the way through December, things, the results have been improving, and I think we're starting to see some of that stability. The way that people work in the club. Derek's been here a few months as well now. And the way that Tom and David and Derek are working together, it gives a bit of stability, and there's been a clear plan, and the team's been playing really, really well. So yeah, that's helpful. But I think it was always there before, and they know what they're doing, and they're good at the jobs, and it's been fantastic to be watching it. So I'm just fortunate to be here during that rather than taking any responsibility.
So sorry to jump in. So your role, because like Erin said, from like a CEO perspective, is your main responsibility all of that umbrella, or are you primarily responsible for like the strategic operation, and then like the how Derek, David, and Tom work together? Is that something you stay away from, or do you have I'm just trying to understand like how your role would operate, because there's so many different departments, aren't there? So do you have like cast an eye on all of them?
Yeah, I mean, I feel responsible for the club, really. I think that's what I feel responsible for, and I feel responsible to the fans and to the owners and to everybody who works here. So that's where my responsibility is, and I suppose that my experience of being in other businesses is that's how other businesses work. If you're responsible for something, you feel responsible for it. So, I mean, I think I would find it a bit strange if I didn't have a relationship with Tom or Derek or David. Sure. So I feel like it's my job to make sure that the culture is right in the club. That people are open and honest and can communicate, and so I think that's really important. And that's whether you're the head coach, or whether you're Matt Girdler who's looking after the data, or whether you're Nick Errington who's looking after the ticket office. I think everybody should, understand what the culture is like, and it's my responsibility to try and make sure that everybody can do the best job that they possibly can to achieve success for the football club. So, and again, that's the same whether you're in the football department or the ticket office or up at the five-a-side centre. So, I feel responsible for every aspect of it. But I mean, we've got experts doing these jobs. It's not my job to try and interfere with the ticket office. Nicky does a great job there, and the same for the football side of it. You know, Tom does a great job, and Derek does a great job. So these guys they're there to run the club. I feel responsible. I'm there to support them, but I feel like I want to be responsible for all parts of it.
Yeah.
I can't play left back though, if that's what you're
Five-a-side on a Wednesday, fancy it?
Well beyond that.
So, how you said then, responsibility for the club, but at the same time, the club is a business. So it's not just the footballing side of things. It's like Falston Park as well, for
Definitely,
example.
yeah.
All the different avenues that the club is pursuing, which we often talk about as well on Argyle Breakfast and Argyle TV, the broader aspects of Argyle, the outreach, the development that's happening in the community, things like that. So let's take Falston Park, for example. How are things moving over there away from the direct football that's happening here?
Yeah, so I mean, that's probably one of the areas that has taken a bit of my time in the last month or so. I mean, it's obviously at quite a crucial stage of the development. But I mean, everything's on track. We've had to make a few different decisions around the pitches, and some of the development work has gone on a bit longer. We found a bit of contamination in some of the areas there, which has been a bit difficult. So managing that is one of the things. It's a big investment for the club. It's a great platform for the future of the club, and so we've been just making sure that that's going to work well. But I mean, it's all on track at the minute. We're working very there's lots of different stakeholders with there, whether it's Plymouth Albion or the athletics club that work there, and Plymouth Council, and they've all been very supportive. So making sure that everybody's in the right place on these things and making sure the development works well. So I mean, we've already the academy staff have moved down to Falston in the last month. It's going to be their home, so they're going to have their own building there, but that's not going to be ready for a couple of months. But the academy staff have worked down there. I was there yesterday afternoon for an academy board session, and that's their home, and that's really starting to become where they're at. The community pitches are open on the AstroTurf, and again, it's great to see them things being there. So the site will develop more and more over the next 6 months to being fully functional, and we've had to make a few decisions to make that change. But yeah, very much on track and looking really great, I've got to say.
It's exciting development
for
the club, but also for Plymouth as well.
Yeah, it's a great place. I think it's a really great place, and even the hub as it is now is a fantastic facility, and it's. I was there yesterday afternoon. It's so vibrant. There's lots of people there, and people using the facilities, and people in and out of the coffee shops and play areas and all that. So it feels really alive, actually, it's really great. It's a really great thing, and you can only get more like that as the players get.
Yeah, I mean, you have to try. I agree with what you're saying in that. The city's been crying out for this for like 40 years, in terms of having like a hub that isn't just purely about football, i.e. it's a private training ground and no one can access it. This is about a community section. And does it mirror what, say, like Bristol are doing? Is it something of that ilk where like Bristol City, I think, share with Bristol Bears, and I think they've got a basketball team? Is it something that's gonna...
Maybe. I don't know really. I mean, I don't know enough about Bristol's setup really. I mean, what I feel it is though, and I don't know really. I mean, we've got to be our own thing, and what we're about really here is making sure that we've got a really great place for our academy, because having the future of the club, part of that future has got to be about developing young players. So having a great facility that does that is really important. So it's for the club, it's primarily that. I think from a community perspective, I just think it's great to have a real focal point where people can come and access good facilities to do sport. So, I mean, I know myself how participating in sport myself has changed my life, both physically and mentally. So, I think to give people that opportunity is the most important thing there for the community, and I think it's great for Plymouth Council to support that, and to have the football club involved obviously brings that kind of elite professional sport to it as well, and the rugby club and the athletics club there. There's a real smorgasbord of what's happening from a sport perspective. I think people can participate and see the elite side as well. I think that's a really great thing.
We've seen the development of the women's team as well, that has really kind of ramped up in recent seasons. Is that something that's important to you as well, in terms of like this offering that Argyle is more all-encompassing rather than just solely being about the men's team?
Yeah, very much. So I think Argyle is very different than a lot of places. I know all clubs say they're unique and different, but Argyle has got some unique things, and I think one of the big things for me is that it's a one club city. So if you're interested in football at all, you're very pro Argyle. Now, where I'm from originally in Manchester, the clubs are fighting over each other. You know, I would go into the office on a Monday morning and you'd come across United and City fans and Blackburn and Bolton and Oldham and Bury and da-da-da-da-da. Whereas here, everyone's an Argyle fan, really. So if you're football follower, you follow Argyle, which I think is really important culturally. So I think that's what's different about it. And I think to get as many people to engage with Argyle on whatever level, whether you're you're going to one of the soccer schools that the Trust run, or whether you're coming to a match here on a Saturday, and the women's club is a really big part of that. So, you know, I think people can engage with it. I mean, I've been to a few games here, and it's great. It's a different atmosphere. It's a slightly different thing. That's really good. I think it's great to be a different thing. And on the pitch, they've been doing great things. You know, real promotion push, and I think Marie's leading the team fantastically there. And you know, we got our fingers crossed. You know, the final of the cup coming up, which is really great for them, and they've progressed very well in all the cups this season. And then obviously they're in a very strong position in a very competitive top end of the league as we go into the final stage of the season, which is really great. Yeah, no, it's looking really good. And before we wrap up, I just want to get to know you as a person a little bit
nobody
better,
wants that.
aside from the CEO element. So you mentioned Manchester.
Yep.
What brings someone like yourself from Manchester down here?
Someone like myself, a northerner from the cold, frozen north. The sun, the endless sun and the sea, obviously. Have you seen it lately?
I was going to say, I don't quite remember what that is. So you have to remind me.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I did move down here, people up north said, "Oh, the endless sun." You know, they have a very strong view of it, but no, it's rained constantly. So I came down here for work. I mean, I originally came to work for Ginsters, and then I got involved with the club there as we came back to sponsor to Argyle. So that's how I initially got involved with Argyle.
So you've locked into like the most Plymouthian things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're Cornish, the pasties. I hate to tell you this. Yeah. So work originally, but and I was like a professional northerner, really. You know, pigeons, whippets, that kind of thing. So moving down here, it was a bit of a surprise to me, but it's great down here. You know, we really love it down here. I came down with my wife and kids 3 years ago, and we've really settled here. So really like it. So yeah, it's become a real way of life. And I've came to start watching Argyle very quickly. So I've been watching Argyle longer than I was watching maybe not quite as long, but I was an Oldham fan originally. Oh, okay. So and you know, going to the game has always been really important to me. I love the experience of going to the match, and I've done that since I was 7 years old and went with my dad to watch Oldham. So I watched Oldham when I was younger, and I've taken my kids to watch football, and then when we came down here, we all started coming watching Argyle, and that's been really superb.
Brilliant. And outside of football, passions, hobbies, music?
Yeah, big music fan. Yeah, big music fan. Yeah, massive music fan. Like people in the office are so young, they don't understand my references to obscure mid-90s Britpop albums.
Oh, is that, so you are Britpop?
I cannot tell you how excited I am for the reformation of the super furry animals this summer. Something that's not shared by many people in the country.
I mean, because we were talking about Glastonbury off air. You did you go and see Pulp then?
Absolutely, yeah. My voice has only just recovered from singing.
Mine still.
With
when the red arrows went over and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely, amazing moment.
Yeah. Right, so Britpop is the way.
Yeah, big thing for me. Yeah, I fought the Britpop wars. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Paul, for coming in
this
morning. I can imagine your diary is pretty jam-packed, so appreciate you taking the time.
No problem.
And enjoy the rest of the day. Any anticipation for this afternoon's game? It's
very
be a tricky
optimistic.
One.
Yeah, tricky, but I mean, we've been playing so well. Been so well. You know, last 10 games have been really great. I mean, good, exciting games as well. And, they're obviously flying high. So I think it'll be a really good game, and we've been playing well against really good teams, So looking forward to it. Really
it's
good.
all you can ask for, really.
Absolutely.
A good, exciting game.
Yeah.
Thank you. On that note, of course, today's game with Lincoln City is live on Argyle TV, and Argyle are looking for, I hate to say it, their first win over the Imps since 2021. So it's been a little while, but what a day that was.
Well, there we go. Lots more still to come for you on Argyle Breakfast as we get into the second hour. Brendan Wirradu will be taking on Get the Badge In. You can see how he got on with that challenge just before midday. And we'll be joined live in the studio by Mike Green, who captained Argyle to promotion in 1975. He'll be with us about 11:30.
The biggest thing was the alignment, right from the owner to the board, obviously to the staff on the ground, of the clear vision for the women's team.
Let's go! Yeah!
It's probably the most excited I've been since I've been part of this club.
The belief is huge this year, but that stems from obviously Marie's belief in what she wants to try and achieve.
Janice! Janice! Down in Plymouth!
This is our time. Make it. Only we will make it. Come on, we can do it. Let's go!
Heartbroken for her, and just everybody did anything they could to get around her and show her we were going to support her the whole way through. When they are completely aligned with each other, what they can achieve.
Come on, 2-0 against Come on, Janice! Up the Janice!
An exciting game where I think it'll be a real good exhibition of what the National League, Women's National League is.
They've definitely had the upper hand. We obviously look to change that if we can.
Slight touch there to marker. Tynan! Yes! Well, he's at it again. Tommy Tynan.
Chance here for Hodges. Hodges gets it across, and there it is. Off the boot of Andy Thomas, his second goal of the night.
Byrne. Campbell inside. Hodges! Is it there? Yes, it is! Kevin Hodges! Tynan! And Argyle thoroughly deserve that.
Yes! McCarthy, who'd had the first chance, has caused an explosion of joy at home park.
Well, as mentioned, we are now officially into the second hour of Argyle Breakfast. Hope you're having a lovely morning so far. We will, of course, have all of the build-up ahead of this afternoon's game and the team news against Lincoln City for you on Matchday Live this afternoon. So that'll be available for you live and for free over on YouTube from 2:30 p.m. And you can grab your match passes for the game itself online right now. But don't do it right now. Maybe do it in the interlude, because we've still got plenty more coming up. As you know, we've heard from one of our new signings already, but now it is the turn of Herbie Kane, who's also been speaking to Charlie about joining Argyle.
How does it feel to be sat here as an Argyle player?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to playing. Yeah, and I can't wait to get started, really.
What was it about here that sort of made you think, yep, this is a move I want to make?
After speaking to the manager, it's something that I wanted to be involved in, and also I've watched games as well, and it's something that I want to be a part of, and like I said, I'm looking forward to it.
We were talking just before the start of this chat about the times you might have come down here to play. You said you've come down a couple of times. You've been down as a watching brief as well when you signed for Barnsley. I was like this. What do you, as an outsider? Then, what is Argyle like, home park like, as a place to come?
Yeah, it was great stadium, great atmosphere when I've been down there. I've also seen the away following that travels as well, which is really impressive. So, yeah, it's, as a player, that's something that you like to see, and yeah, looking forward to that side.
We can hear in the accent, West Country boy. So does it feel good to be back in the southwest? You've spent so much time in the north of the country, haven't you, in your career?
Yeah, it's not too far from Bristol, obviously, but yeah, some familiar accents down there, which is nice to hear.
Tell us a little bit about your journey. People will know bits and pieces, but yeah, plot us through your career path to now, basically.
So yeah, been from Bristol. I started at Bristol City. Moved away like when I was 14 to Liverpool, and then was there for I want to say 9 years, and then been in Yorkshire ever since. A few different clubs. Started on loan at Doncaster, and then Hull City, before moving to Barnsley for a few years, and then obviously recently signing for Huddersfield. So yeah, it's been a lot of Yorkshire clubs, but yeah, it's nice to be back down south for a short while.
Yeah, we're happy to have you back down south. The Liverpool move then. So when you go there as a 15-year-old, that obviously is a huge move, isn't it? It's away from home, massive club. What can you sort of remember from those early days when you made that move there?
Yeah, it's exciting, but yeah, it's hard moving away from home, moving away from your family. So yeah, it was tough in that sense. But then you get to play football for one of the best clubs in the world, and yeah, it was exciting and exciting but challenging at the same time, and something that I don't regret really.
Yeah, do you think it sort of makes you grow up a bit quicker when you leave home, leave away from where you've grown up?
Yeah, obviously you got to mature quick, and all the little sides of life that you don't think of at that age, you soon think of them, and yeah, I think it's put me in good stead now, and definitely made me mature earlier than maybe if I didn't move.
Yeah, on the pitch though, you're probably getting some of the best football education ever, aren't you? When you're at Liverpool, at Melwood, in and around the training grounds there. What was that kind of those 9 years like for your development, do you think?
Yeah, it was like I said, like you said there. You have the best coaches there. You have the best players there, so you're going to improve. And yeah, I enjoyed my time there. And then yeah, you're working with the best people in football. So definitely from when going as a kid, I would say I've definitely improved for being there. So
I was looking at the kind of age group that you had, and there were quite a few players that have gone on to do really good things, aren't there?
Yeah, and that's the opportunity that people get when you're at a club like that, and they've got a good history of bringing players through, whether that's to Liverpool first team or to go off and have a good career somewhere else. And so yeah, it is a good place to start your football, especially.
That go off and have a career somewhere else is something that you've done. Yeah. Racked up over 200 odd league appearances, as you mentioned, the clubs you've played for. How do you think you've sort of evolved from the Herbie Kane that kind of was an 18-year-old at Liverpool to now, basically?
Yeah, like just as we said before about maturing off the pitch, you also mature on the pitch, whether that's learning off other experienced players or also learning off younger players. You all, from playing with them, you all take little bits of information, different things with you, and I think now, if you look to me now to when I first went on loan, I've matured a lot, and yeah, it's been a good journey really.
You mentioned a little earlier about kind of chatting to the manager, talking to Tom. What are the sort of things that you've discussed with him about how you're going to affect the team?
Yeah, he just said to me that he wants me to come in and show what I could do on the pitch and help the team as much as I can. And he has full belief in me, which is something that you always want from your manager. And yeah, really impressed with the conversation that I had with him.
Now that is a West Country accent.
Absolutely.
He's right at home here.
Yes. I didn't actually appreciate the the depth of the West Country twang.
Yeah, it's really going off there. Yeah, like I said, happy to have him. He's another player with a fair amount of championship experience, Aaron. What do you think he will bring to the side? Because he's a different sort of player to, you know, the likes of Boateng and Wiradou.
He's more of the ilk of Joe Rules, isn't he? He's a ball player. He's going to have technical qualities because of his upbringing at Liverpool. I know he was at Bristol and then he went to Liverpool, but you know, they don't sign fools at that age. They would have seen a lot of promise in him technically and his ability to look after the football. And when he's fit, he's a very, very astute footballer. So I think he will bring that added refinement that I think we sometimes lack in that midfield area. We need that industrialism, we know that. We need the athleticism, but we also need the players who are capable of putting their foot on the ball and learning to dictate games.
Calming things down,
yeah. So I think if we can get him fit and up to speed, again, he will only strengthen that department as we go into the latter stages of the season.
He hasn't played a lot this season, and we know as well with Wes Harding, you know, he hadn't had maybe the seasons that he had hoped for previously. Do you think fitness will be an issue for either of them, and the likelihood of seeing them playing, whether that be today or soon?
Yeah, of course. I mean, fitness is always temporary anyway. So what they've got to do is make sure that they don't... I don't think we desperately need to thrust them into the start 11. I don't think we're not in a desperation case whereby we haven't got any players, we need to throw them in. We've got available players who are playing and they're fit. So what we've got to do is, and they'll do this, the coaching staff will just ease them in, get them ready, be available. They know the qualities that they bring, but they've got to be match ready. So it will only bolster what we need and what we've got, but they don't need to like thrust them in immediately. I think it will take a bit of time, especially Herbie Kane, I think, who hasn't played through injury. But if you look at Joe Rules, who arrived having not really played all season because he was out of contract, then he's been outstanding. So if they fit that mould, we know we've signed two really capable players.
It's also nice to be in that position where, like you said, we're not crying out for these new players to be put into the squad immediately through lacking in other areas. This is, like you said, improving the breadth and the depth of the squad that we already have, which is a position we've been in previously in other seasons, and to start having that back again is a really nice feeling. Yeah,
I mean, in the modern game, if you look at teams who go on and are successful, you know, they win the league or they win a cup or they win the playoffs, they get there through depth. You know, they might have their prime 11 that if everyone's available, that's their starting 11, but ultimately you don't win it with 11 players, you win it with 18, 19, so we need to make sure we've got a strength that runs a lot deeper than it has been previously. That will mean you'll pick up more points. It will be inevitable.
And that is what we want, more points on the board. We have just under 45 minutes left of Argyle Breakfast for you, so we'll be drilling into this afternoon's game in a bit more detail. But do stay tuned as well, because just before midday, Brendan Wiradou will be taking on our Argyle Breakfast game, Get the Badge In. You can see just how he got on very shortly.
Touch there to marker. Tynan! Yes! Well, he's at it again. Tommy Tynan.
Chance here for Hodges. Hodges gets it across, and there it is. Off the boot of Andy Thomas. His second goal of the night.
Byrne. Campbell inside. Hodges! Is it there? Yes, it is! Kevin Hodges!
Chance has caused an explosion of joy at home park.
This is Fantasy EFL. Pick 7 players and 2 clubs from across the EFL. With rolling deadlines, make changes right up until each player plays. Set your team and accumulate points as the action unfolds. Every goal, every tackle, every save. Get one step closer to the top. Use your Max Captain chip to get double points for your best player. Go all in with a new One Club chip. Pick 7 players from one club. Get injury and suspension alerts. Every match counts and every pick is worth taking. Battle for real prizes, including a season ticket for the winner of each of our 72 clubs mini-leagues. Let the games begin. Play Fantasy EFL today.
Welcome back. It's that time of the morning where we get an insight into this afternoon's game. Argyle lost their first game of 2026 last weekend, and there's no let-up today as we take on the most informed side in the league as our opponents. We will be hearing from Tom Cleverley, as we always do, in just a moment. But first, Michael Skubala.
You'll have had your own expectations at the start of the season. Do you think you're exceeding what you hoped for at the start of the year?
It's a good question. I think, like always, you go into the start of the season. It starts with pre-season with us, if I'm honest. It doesn't start at the first game. It starts when you bring a group of players together in pre-season, and you see them bonding, you see them working hard, and you think you can hit the ground running, which we did, and we have done over the last couple of seasons probably, or the last season when I was here. And then it's about maintaining that. And then we did maintain that, and now it's about the end running. But in terms of expectations, I don't think you can put a ceiling on any group of players. I don't think you can put a ceiling on this group of players because they keep improving all the time. They keep getting better. They train hard every day, and we drive that for them as coaches, but they drive that themselves as well. So in terms of expectations, I don't know. Let others limit what we do. I'm not too fussed about putting limits on these lads.
And on Plymouth, they've had a real season of 2 halves so far. Struggled at the start, and people were wondering what's happened to them. But they're back in mid-table now and in good form.
They're in very good form. Yeah, they've probably changed their season around. I think, like you said at the start of the season, there's probably a little bit of adaptation to League One. Through staff and players. But in the recent games, they're in very good form. They've beat some top teams. They've picked up some draws. They beat Luton at home, which is no mean feat for anything. So again, like you've seen it. The results. Last night, Tuesday night, when I wanted to watch some games, you see it at the weekend. Like if you're not on it, you get beat. So you've just got to look after yourselves and make sure you're ready to perform. And again, we're confident if we can perform, we can go and get the points.
I know they've had a couple of years in the Championship, but Lincoln versus Plymouth always feels like a match where there's a bit of drama, doesn't it?
I don't know. The drama's exciting, but yeah, we take every game and every opposition, and we plan for every game in the same way, and that is how can we hurt the opposition. And I'm sure they'll plan for the same about how they can hurt us. So we're excited. We're excited to get down there and show a good count of ourselves. Hopefully, it'll be a good atmosphere. And I'm hearing lots of fans are travelling, which is amazing because that is no easy trip on a Saturday to get all the way down to Plymouth and back. So yeah, we just want to try and get those 3 points as we always do and keep getting them.
Let's talk about this weekend then. It feels like every time we sit here previewing a game, I'm saying, we're playing against a team that's bang in form. But Lincoln really are, aren't they? 12 unbeaten, I think it is, and absolutely flying this season. What have you sort of made of them?
Yeah, Michael's done a terrific job with his team. They're definitely the most effective team in the league when it comes to their style of play. There's not a right or wrong way to do it. It's unbelievably effective. What they do, they've got some real talented individuals in that. Hackett, Moylan's in great form. And yeah, they are where they deserve to be. They're in excellent form. In that 12 games you talk about, they're beating some real strong opposition. So we're up against it on Saturday, but we have been in good form ourselves. No one could have complained if we took all 3 points at Stockport on Saturday, and previously to that against Mansfield, and going back even further against your Peterboroughs and Lutons. So yeah, we're looking forward to this challenge, and we'll meet it head on.
When you are preparing for games like this, against a side that is so used to winning, and it would have been the same with Stockport as well, what are the things that you are wanting to get across kind of to the players? Because I've heard you say many a time, like, we focus on ourselves, and because we've been playing so well, that kind of makes sense. But there's obviously other bits of game plan that go in there, I presume.
Yeah, obviously. The key thing is the focus is on us, and we drive the intensity, we create the atmosphere, and I think we've done that really well, being on the front foot. You have to respect when a team that's second in the division and unbeaten in 12, they have some strengths that you're going to have to shut down. Set pieces, the long throw. Like I said, the two lads, Hackett and Moylan, in great form. But the overriding feeling at the minute is we're being really consistent in game plan, in performance levels. So, and if we can replicate that, then we give ourselves every chance.
Well, they certainly will need every chance, really, because when you look at this one on paper, it is a massive test for Argyle, isn't it?
Massive. Like, for me, the biggest one in the last month. Yeah. And I appreciate they lost last week, but for 45 minutes, I thought we were more than capable of winning that game. And Charlie and I said in the analysis show at the start of the week that it felt like a soft loss.
Yeah.
Because of the way in which we lost the game in the end. I think we were more than capable of taking something from that game against the team in form at home, who are also pushing for the playoffs. But in recent weeks, we've set our benchmark to go away and win at Peterborough, to beat Luton. I felt we should have put the game to bed against Mansfield, and we didn't. And today is the biggest test so far. It really is.
Well, they're on a 12-game unbeaten run at the minute, which is quite substantial. Second best defence in the league as well, which then puts a lot of the onus on our attacking players as well to be able to break through that. We know our form at home has gotten better. It's, improved markedly from Home Park not being that fortress that we're used to. But what do you think Argyle are going to need to do this afternoon to have any chance of working against all the stats, all the odds that aren't in their favour?
I mean, first and foremost, they've got to stay in the game. Lincoln will look at Argyle as a dangerous opponent. Okay. They will, because of the form we're in. They're 9 wins in their last 12. But we are like 3 defeats in our last 12. So we're not, and other than last week, that was our first defeat in 6 weeks. And, so we've definitely gone up. We're one of the form teams as well. I think because they've got so many goals from different departments, they can't allow like a Lincoln to kind of just dictate possession. So what we've been doing really well recently is stopping source. So thwarting their playmakers. We didn't do it particularly well second half last week, but stopping the build and turning the ball over and then transitioning really, really quickly. So I would envisage a similar game plan where they'll come out on the front foot, we'll have a high press, we won't sit and contain, there's no need to do that because that will just invite Lincoln on. They've got to take it to them, and what they've got to do is really disrupt Lincoln's capability to take a stranglehold of the game. And I think that will probably be the game plan. I won't be surprised if you see him come out, high press, make it difficult, turn the ball over, and then squeeze the pitch as they turn that ball over.
Okay, that sounds exciting. Who, analysis-wise, have you chosen today? We'll be starting with Lincoln.
We'll start with the opposition as we always do with Lincoln. The first one is Rico Hackett Fairchild. Now, he reminds me of Morgan Whittaker. So he has got goals from all areas of the pitch. 6 goals, 7 in all competitions, so 6 in the league, 6 assists are in. But you see clips here, he's got a very Whittaker type profile to him. The way he scores goals, he can play, he's naturally left-footed, uses that left foot, but I mean, he's got some terrific strikes on him. He's assisting, that's his ball in there as well. So we know he can not only score goals, but he can also create them as well. And look, very Whittaker-esque for me, the way he moves and hits it first time. So if you give him any ounce of room in and around that attacking area, then he's going to pose a threat. But he travels with the ball as well. And, look, we're seeing him here. You don't need to give him too much time. And these have got, like I keep saying, that Whittaker-esque outcomes to him. A very, very dangerous and very in-form performer that on his day will naturally take the game away from you. So that's the first one they've got to be mindful of.
Well, we know how potent and informed Morgan Whittaker can be. And I suppose, like you said, looking at those, the lack of hesitation when it comes to taking those chances, taking those shots. Whereas maybe before we've had instances where opposition has maybe tried to get a second touch or just tried to monitor the ball a bit more, and that's where our defenders have managed to stop something. If he is just ready to go bang, bang, then there's very little you can do in that scenario.
No, so I wouldn't have been surprised if Tom Cleverley in the week has said, right, what you've got to be prepared to do, the defensive line, is detach and get to the ball as quickly as you can. He's going to shoot on sight, so don't hesitate, go for it. And that needs to become instinctive, and players have to trust the moment. So if the ball is coming from wide areas, because they seem to like to get into wide areas and cut back, so if he resonates on the edge of the box, they know he's going to shoot. So we've got to get out to the ball as quickly as we can to deny that opportunity from becoming, becoming evident on game day. So, very dangerous player.
Yeah, he's certainly looking like a dangerous player.
Yes.
Who else is one to watch?
Second one is Jack Moylan, so midfielder, 24, Irish, 5 goals, 6 in all comps, 3 assists. So a bit more of an industrious midfield player. So we'll run from deep. We'll like to get into those dangerous areas as well. You know, they're a team in form. They're scoring in all areas of the pitch, and will cut in. Great left foot. You know, likes to play kind of inverted, but can show the qualities he has as well. You know, that's him scoring with his right foot. So you can see what variation he has. I mean, this finish here, Erin, is just outstanding. Like, outside of the foot, across the goalkeeper. I mean, you only take those types of shots on if you're confident, and clearly he's someone on a crest of a wave. But the whole team will be, Erin, because they're second in the league. They're the most in-form side in the division. You know, they've got the championships in sight, and they're on a crest of a wave. And here he is in possession here, look, can wriggle and get free and put dangerous balls in there. And I said great left foot. He's also got a great right foot as well. He can play off both feet. So very, very dangerous player.
And this confidence, just it breeds success naturally. The more confident you are, the more confident you will become, the more successful you're likely to be. And being, like you said, as in form as they are, 12 games unbeaten, there will probably be more going for them and more for them to be worried about losing that streak.
I think so, and they remind me of what we were like a couple of years ago, where outside of the football club, people might have said at early points of the season, well, Argyle have fall away. And I think people have probably looked at it the same and said, well, okay, Lincoln have had a good start, but they'll fall away, but they're still there. And they're winning. And if you look at, you know, we've picked Rico, Hackett, Fairchild and Jack Moylan, but you've got Freddie Draper, Rob Street, Adam Reach. They're all like 4 in 4. So they're all contributing like 8 goals each between them, i.e. whether it's an assist or a goal themselves. You've got depth and they got variety, and that's what won us the league a couple of years ago. So we've got to be extremely cautious of what they bring.
Yeah, well, they'll be well up there in contention for winning the league this time around. We just have to hope that we get in their way, certainly for this afternoon, to pick up the points ourselves. Presumably then, having looked at 1 or 2 of the players you've chosen there, it's down to Argyle's defence.
Yes, so I picked one initially, but they're all responsible for it. But for me, Alex Mitchell is probably our most aggressive defender that we've got. Someone who actually enjoys defending, heading the ball, kicking the ball, scrapping for the ball. And if we can get him on point, I mean, this is his goal line clearance and his never say die attitude against Luton. He's also a threat going forward. He's getting closer, isn't he, to a goal. But this is where we want him, at that end of the pitch, heading clearances, making himself difficult to break through. We know he's been outstanding since he's arrived as a defender and covering around. And, you know, he'll forgive me for saying, and he won't mind me saying it, he's not the most accomplished football player, but he's a really good stopper. And that's what defending is all about. It's about stopping the opposition from going forward and keeping the ball out of your net. And if he can have a game that we know he's capable of completing, then we stand a good chance of performing well and keeping a clean sheet.
And finally,
I've gone with someone I picked last week, I think, Ronan Curtis. Now, Ronan Curtis, for me, has been outstanding since his arrival. He's getting closer to a goal, but it's his contributions, Erin. This is last week, a great ball in for Matthias Ross. His ability to run, he gets into great areas. I think his all-round game has been excellent, and he is getting closer. This is his moment against Luton, where he shifts inside and he can, coming on to that left foot as well, but it's his deliveries. It's his ability to put the ball in dangerous areas that are creating chances and goals alike. I think he's had 5 contributions or key contributions since he's arrived, and that's just not coincidental. And I think we're finishing on this winning contribution, Bim Peppel in the Virtue Trophy against Bristol Rovers. So Ronan Curtis for me has got a big part to play this afternoon.
He's been a very exciting player,
yes.
I think,
yeah.
since joining.
Yeah.
And he's offering quite a lot as well in terms of not just like what you're seeing in terms of the football, but how passionate he seems to be in like wearing the shirt and getting involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he's got pedigree. We've spoken about it previously. He's an international. He's played a high proportion of his career in the Championship. You know, he's been a thorn in our side when he played against us for Pompey.
Yes.
We know the qualities he has. He's a permanent signing, so he's not on loan. You know, we purchased him, so he's here to stay. And I think he'll only get better as he gets older.
Yeah, well, we will certainly look forward to that. 25 to 12 now, so just under half an hour of Argyle Breakfast for you. Let's just give you a reminder of what we have coming up. It's our final live guest. We're going to be joined by former Argyle captain Mike Green live in the studio. Stay tuned for that.
The biggest thing was the alignment, right from the owner to the board, obviously to the staff on the ground, of the clear vision for the women's team.
Let's go! Yeah.
It's probably the most excited I've been since I've been part of this club.
The belief is huge this year, but that stems from obviously Marie's belief in what she wants to try and achieve.
Janice, down in Plymouth.
This is our time. Make it. Only we will make it. Come on, we can do it.
Heartbroken for her, and just everybody did anything they could to get around her and show her we were going to support her the whole way through. When they are completely aligned with each other, what they can achieve.
Come on, 2-0 against Come on, Janice. Up the Janice. Man down.
An exciting game where I think it'll be a real good exhibition of what the National League, Women's National League is.
They've definitely had the upper hand. We obviously look to change that if we can.
Slight touch there to marker. Tynan! Yes! Well, he's at it again. Tommy Tynan.
Chance here for Hodges. Hodges gets it across, and there it is. Off the boot of Andy Thomas, his second goal of the night.
Byrne. Campbell inside. Hodges! Is it there? Yes, it is! Kevin Hodges! Tynan! And Argyle thoroughly deserve that.
Yes! McCarthy, who'd had the first chance, has caused an explosion of joy at home park.
Welcome back. It is that time of the show. We are drawing near to the end, but always save the best for last. We've got our final live guest in the studio, and what a guest to bring you today. It is a little over 50 years now since Argyle achieved one of their greatest ever promotions. It was their dream season, as we call it. Players like Billy Rafferty, Paul Mariner and Johnny Hoare were at home park, and they were marshalled by none other than their captain in Mike Green, who is with us now. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Now, I've only just registered as well, because Mike and Aaron and I were just talking off camera about your lovely tie, your lovely green shirt, and when you go shopping you tend to purchase green, and of course for Argyle, but as well Mike Green is in the name.
Exactly.
You couldn't have been more suited to a life at Argyle.
Everybody calls me Greenie. I've always got something related to green.
Yeah. Well, I mean, perfect. Who better to captain the Greens than Mike Green himself?
Yeah.
Can you believe it's been just over 50 years?
My wife and I were chatting when I got the invite, and mentally I'm still, it's like just a few years ago, because I'm still couldn't remember Billy Rafferty and Paul Mariner scoring goals, and Jim Fennell saving the goals, usually after one of my mistakes. So it was always, that's always been a part of me on a day-to-day. And because I play with a group of lads playing golf, and they're not Plymouth supporters, so I always have to hang in on my corner to defend myself.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where you say, you know, this dream season, 74, 75, and I don't know if either of you have the same thing, but when someone mentions a year like that, you really just don't think it's as long.
No.
The maths doesn't seem to compute, and I don't know if that's because time is progressing at such a rate these days. But like you said, you feel very much like it was.
Yeah, sometimes I'm talking to my wife June, she says, "Remember when you went there and did this and did that?" And I go, no. But to say Argyle in 1974, and the 71st minute or something, and I said, oh yeah, I remember we'd crossed the ball, and it all comes back. It's incredible. And I'm not actually storing it. It's just, it's something inside, I think, that sticks with you.
Yeah. Of course, as is the nature of time, as time progresses, our bodies, you know, get with us. But in your mind, do you know, if you were given the opportunity, would you go out and give it a go all over again?
Oh gosh, yeah. I do watch the odd clip on YouTube. Just to remind me how good I was. You know what I mean? That was a joke, by the way.
I know you were. You were good, so it's fine.
While I was the captain, I used to have a lot of authority, and I used to make sure people looked after me. You know, I used to say, like, Johnny Hoare or Bobby Saxon, get round the back, come here, go. So I was doing all this, and it looked like I was doing this for the benefit of the team, but I was covering my own back.
That's what captains do, though. They marshal and they bring the best out of others. Great leaders.
Yeah, of course. So let's rewind then, because you are from Carlisle.
Carlisle originally.
I mean, you couldn't have picked a team further opposite ends of the country.
No. Well, I mean, at Carlisle, I was as it happened to Carlisle's first apprentice, and that was in the days where they had big staffs and big squads, and it was very difficult to make progress. And so, for me, who was just average sort of player, you had to move. And but I always liked to move. It's funny. I always enjoyed going somewhere else. So I went from Carlisle to Gillingham in Kent, which is a big. And back in the day, it was a long move. But to come to Plymouth, I mean, it was more. I would have walked to Plymouth. You know, it was that sort of. If you're, well, obviously they're interested, and so I couldn't wait to get down here. You know? Yeah.
And what was the club like back then? What was it that drew you all that way down to be part of it?
Well. You always look at, well, I did anyway, look at potential. You think, you know, a club like Plymouth, they're down below, or the club that's punching above the weight, so you think they might have to settle down somewhere else. But, of course, money came into it as well, because every time you get back in the day, you got a little bit of a bonus, and then you got your wages, which were usually better than where you were, and bonuses and things like that. So that was part of the thinking as well. So you went from a Ford Capri or something to a Mercedes or something on the strength of the move then. So you had a 3-bedroom a semi, and then you got a 3-bedroom detached. So it was all part of the package.
The upgrade, absolutely.
So you were going to another club, but obviously as a family it was to our advantage as well to move, you know.
Yeah, well, it certainly makes the long distance to move a bit more appealing, doesn't it, when you have perks like that. And you were made captain straight away, right?
Yeah, well, the truth is I was never that good a player, but I was a good talker. So I was the one on the pitch who was always saying, John, go there, Jim, come here. And so that was, Tony Waiters said to me, who was the manager at the time, he said, if we didn't buy you because you were good players, we bought you because you were a good talker. And what he meant by that was that I was organising you know, I would say, don't go there, stay there. If it was the first 10 minutes or the last 10 minutes, I was making decisions on whether you should go for a corner or whether you shouldn't, or whether you should stay back. So that was part of my assets for to my game, rather than necessarily what I could do on the ball. Or, but I used to make sure that everybody was in the right position and go for corners. I would tell them which one to go, near post, far post. So that was what I was brought in for.
But it's interesting you say maybe you think you weren't the best player, but I mean, I think when we've done, or you've done analysis, and you know, like for example, you talk about Alex Mitchell, and you're like, right, he might not be the most finessed player or things like that, but having that oversight, that understanding of the game, the management of the game, and where things need to be as a whole, that by proxy makes you a great player, because it doesn't necessarily have to be about your individual skills. It's
the footballing IQ.
Because it's a team game, we all have something to offer.
Yeah, sure.
And you know what your weakness is, we'll try and cover it.
Sure.
And my weakness is you'll keep an eye on me.
That's intellect. That's an intelligent way of looking at things, isn't it? So if you knew, for example, you weren't the quickest runner, well, you'd make sure you get protection behind you for people to cover around. But that needs organising and seeing. And we say all the time in the modern game, like, I think there's a lack of leaders out there now. Players who can lead by marshalling. Everyone seems to be judged on what they do when the ball's at their feet. And actually, it's more about the stuff that goes unnoticed. So I think you're doing yourself a disservice. That's what I'm saying. Aaron and I, absolutely.
Well, I clearly can remember, you know, we had a mixture when I was playing, a mixture of some young lads coming through, and some lads who had been around the block a little bit, and so it sort of didn't gel at the start because the manager brought in quite a lot of new players. And then eventually it started to click, and we all got understanding, which took a little while. Then all of a sudden we were racing, and we were winning and drawing and winning, and so that was the manager. I assume he could see that when he's trying to put the team together. But it doesn't necessarily mean the team he puts together is the one that brings us success. Because many times a young lad pushes his way into the team, and you think, oh, that's a missing link. He brings this to the team, and so forth. So you can plan all you want, but sometimes a chap gets injured, and you bring another player in, and you go, crikey, he's blossomed. But when you analyse him in training, you think, well, he's not quite good enough, not quite good enough. But given a chance, they'd step up, and it's amazing.
How did the other players respond to your arrival and then captaincy? Because there's some big names in that squad.
Yeah, well, I think Tony Waite was in a process of moving one or two out for whatever reason, without going into that. And then he knew what he wanted to bring in, and I think I was one of the players. Billy Rafferty come just before, not long before me, because he wanted. And Billy Rafferty came when he was injured, so he signed him on as an injured player at the end of the previous season. And then Billy was ready for the season in '74 with Paul Mariner, and that's how they got together. And then a young lad called John Delvey came, who was about 19 years of age, and you wouldn't think, why the hell did they sign a 19-year-old on? But he stepped up, you know, he stepped up, and all of a sudden it was all coming together. And Colin Randall, who was like a full-back stroke midfield player, so they didn't know where to play him really, and he finished up in midfield, and he blossomed, and it all sort of came together without necessarily really planning it.
Do you remember a moment in that season, maybe a bit earlier on, where you thought, okay, we could be in with a shot here of the promotion?
Because we started winning one and drawing one, as I was saying. We weren't doing great, we weren't that consistent, but there's about 5 or 6 new players, which is a lot to gel in. Normally you slip one in and slip one in, but this was a bunch. And I didn't know your game, you didn't know my game, but eventually it all came together. And I forget what we played, but we played away somewhere, and we were 2-0 down or something like that. And all of a sudden we started playing really well. You think, well, normally you would sort of concede a little bit, but we finished up winning the game, and that was like a turning point that you thought, we have something here, you know, but it's taken a while to get there. Because things don't usually happen overnight. Let's I would say, a bit lucky. Yeah. So then we went on, and once we started winning and drawing, and it was brilliant, you know, and we started to believe, you know, we're the best team, and we had a brilliant dressing room. So if you were getting a bit cocky, we would make sure that...
Lovely.
Yeah. And on the pitch, you would get a fair old mouthful. If you were supposed to do that, and you did this, you wouldn't just say, oh, don't worry about it. We'd say, you know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
This is what your role is in the team. And if you do that, I can do my job.
Yeah.
And we used to go along that. And I think some people finished up in the team who probably wouldn't have been in the team if you picked the team before the season started. But they got in, took their chance, and found the manager must have gone, oh, I didn't know those two could play together. But they did, and it just went on. It was great to be in, I must admit. You bring him happy memories back all the time.
Yeah, brilliant. It's fascinating because I love the fact that you were talking about perhaps individually they wouldn't have maybe started, but when you actually put them into a system, their contribution made all your parts greater, and then therefore the sum was greater. And that's, for me, that's a great example of like not judging someone just on a training performance. Actually, when you put them into a system, how effective they are within a team, and that's what football's about, is being part of a squad. And I love the fact that you said you could hold each other accountable for actions based on their role, and you had a really kind of connected dressing room.
And the team developed, and players were showing things which I never thought. They didn't show it in training, but playing with better players, you play better yourself. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And you realise where the standard is. And if you're conscientious, you think, I'm not quite there yet. So, but I would then help you get to that little, that little bit. You know, we're searching for that little bit extra. And so I used to all the time. I was always analysing. You know, no matter what we do in training. Look, you know, if you're fanting around in training and not doing your fitness work and all the rest of it. So I think that's. I've gone back about I was a good talk. That was how we used to do it, and of course we had one or two experienced players who wouldn't take no nonsense, and so any young lads coming through, they would be taught. This is how you're supposed to behave. This is how you, in a situation in the game, without the manager having to get the blackboard out and do diagrams and all that sort of stuff. So the players really were, the senior players that we had, were always pushing the young lads to learn the game.
You're almost managing yourselves as well in a,
yes,
in a way.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I mean, sometimes we used to have meetings and we'd let the manager come in, we'd go in the dressing room, we'd go in the room somewhere, and we'd say, look, you know, and I would stand up and say, look, you know, this is between all of us, and we'd have a little chit-chat, and if you think you're doing okay and I say you're not, we'd sort it out.
I'm interested to know what the dressing room, you know, the behind-the-scenes experience was like that, or to be in your generation, because as we know now, football has changed quite significantly. We've had guests on before, I think, where there's cups of tea, or even occasion, I think, a beer after a game or something like that, which is unheard of now. But were there any particular rituals or stories that you?
Well, I was always I used to get dressed, stripped. We call it stripped, changed late. Some lads used to get changed like 45 minutes before. They got the boots on. They got all the kits on and they're standing around and whatever. And I was always last minute. I was sort of the kit on, and then you get the ball and off we go, sort of thing. But other people wanted to be quiet. Other people wanted to. They were bubbly. And John Dell, for example, who was only 19, I think 20 when he was there, and he was always bubbly and excitable. And something like me was a bit of a boring old plod. I would sort of be quiet and I'd have a word with you and I'd have a word with you, and it used to go on like that. So by the time we hit the pitch, you know, we were ready to play. You know, it was that good of atmosphere. And for my time here, the dressing room, what do you call the players, the dressing room was brilliant. With that mixture of young lads who wanted to learn and get on, and they've been given a chance because John Dell came from Queen's Park Rangers reserves effectively, and now he's in Plymouth Argyle's first team.
Wow!
Well, what a chance!
Yeah.
You know, and so the dressing room was the squad of players that we had. There was all the mixture, and one or two older players who taught the young lads, we don't do that, you know, you don't do that. But then the young kids brought life to the team.
Yeah.
And but you never know when you put the team together. No. You might think, well, this is the best team I've got in the this is the best team in the dressing room, but you find that some lad gets it by hook or by crook, and you found a player.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, that's what you need sometimes.
Yeah, just a bit of luck, and the manager might get the credit for picking that player. But well, he had nobody else, so he put the young lad in. And all of a sudden,
well, they take their chance, don't they?
Exactly.
They take their chance, you know.
And I used to love it. I used to love the dressing room. I used to love being in the dressing room, the Mickey taking, you know, and there was no airs and graces, and you couldn't get away with it. But everybody knew we're all doing it for one purpose, which was to get a result. Get a team together.
I'm in the way that you're talking about your experience. I'm going to ask you one more question in a minute, which also is because I imagine stuff like this probably was never happening back when you were a player. We're going to take a pause now to do one of our games that we do with our current players. You don't have to join in. We can play along, you know, while we watch it. But one of the games we have here at Argyle is we ask the players to try and name as many clubs as they can from a cropped version of the club's badge, and that's Premier League all the way down to League Two. I know it's difficult. This is what they've got to do in their free time. Brendan Wiradu is taking on the challenge this week, so let's see how he got on.
Brendan Wiradu, get the badge in.
Right, Brendan, are you ready?
Yeah.
Sam, are you ready with the timer? Can you count me in? 2, 1.
Lincoln, Plymouth, Cambridge, Grimsby, Harrogate, Walsall, Coventry, Villa, Bristol City, West Brom, Exeter, Gillingham, Norwich, Stockport, Bath, Barrow, Bath, what? Bath, Peterborough, Middlesbrough, Cardiff, Cheltenham, Preston, Ipswich, Stoke, Shrewsbury, Leyton Orient, Fulham, Wickham, Newport, Pass, Oldham, Pass. What Pass?
Time. Yeah, well, Brendan, that was ridiculously good, I've got to say, because
he was quick.
Yeah, they are difficult.
He's good, isn't he?
He was good, wasn't he?
I think that's one of our best scores so far. It's up there in the top of the leaderboard. I was not very good. I'm down on the... Well,
No.
are you on the second page?
Yeah, I'm on the second page now. Yeah, I got relegated last week, so I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah, Zach Baker still top with 35.
All the players that are winning this year.
Well
yes,
done.
our previous game from last season, the media team ended up outperforming the players, but it's flipped around this time round. Mike, we've only got about 90 seconds left, so I'm going to have a very quick final question from you. Based on what you were saying before, if you had your time again, would you rather stick with Argyle in the 70s, or would you give modern football a go?
Definitely back in my day.
Yeah.
I don't want to criticise modern football, but it's so different to what it was when we were playing. And it was a definite excitement about going out to play. But I've not been funny critical, but when I watch the lads play today, it's just pass it and pass it. We wanted to get up the other end.
you can say
fast and furious.
We didn't want to pass it around the back. We want to get up there and get it in the crossing.
Well, we're very glad to have you as part of Argyle's history and legacy. Thank you so much for coming in this morning, Aaron. Thank you as well.
Thank you.
For
Look after yourself.
We'll be back for Match Day Live at about 2:30. So we'll see you very soon. Thank you for watching.